What up YouTube, it's Missouri's Company. In today's video, we are jumping into a single target build for Crusader that will almost guarantee that you out damage other, if not all, DPS options in terms of classes. Now, this build has taken me a while to fully finish because I needed one headpiece that I just got today. So very excited to show you guys this video. The build that I was using alternatively, which I will showcase as well. So you're actually getting two builds for the price of one video. Not bad for you. I'll try to keep this nice and short, but I will talk about that at the very end as well. So this build is actually very, very good. And let's go ahead and get straight to it. So again, I finally unlocked the piece that I wanted, and I will showcase the damage first, then talk about the build, the skills, the Paragon tree, because I always forget the Paragon tree, which I should probably make sure I'm using the right one, which is Weaver. Okay, cool. Now, we're going to do a 30-second DPS check, so we're going to be doing damage for 30 seconds to the dummy, and then ideally I'm going to try to pause it as close to 30 seconds as I can, so that way we can sort of break down my damage. Now again, you could use this exact build and be dramatically different in terms of what your damage output is, either higher or lower depending on your secondary stats. Well, I'm not gonna list everything, based off a plethora of different things in the game. So what is good for me might not be good for you at all, or it could be really good for you. So let's start the disclaimer there. Let's get straight to it. So first things first, I am on my shield what option, what do they call that? The shield stance, that's what it's called, because I'm going to toggle to the offensive stance. I highly, and I recommend this on all of my raid videos, I would highly recommend not raid in game in Diablo Immortal, not raid the game, just anyway, moving on, because it is a noticeable amount of DPS increase when you are toggling for that first 10 seconds. So we're going to approach our target. So boy, now ready, set, go. All right, so we are doing all the DPS. We peaked just over 2 mil DPS there, which feels real good for a Crusader. Again, this build is very easy to use. You basically just use your skills on cooldown, which keeps it nice and easy for new users or veterans alike. Now again, you can see that the ramping up and the ramping down of this build is very noticeable, since we got over 2 mil DPS per second, and then now we're down just under a mil. So we are at 28, 29, boom, pause. Okay, so I ended at 844 damage per second. Total is 25 million damage, which is pretty good actually for me on any of my classes. The DPS is low, I will state that, but we did peak at just over 2 mil. I can usually do consistently over 2 mil damage on my wizard, which I'm sort of min-maxed for. This is not a fully min-maxed Crusader, but so again, your damage and DPS could vary. Now, let's go ahead and jump into the build itself. This is the best damage I've done on my Crusader, I will say that though. So the headpiece, which is the one that I missed the most, is Glamour Throne. Crown, which is consecration, now places you in a state of radiance, during which every 3 attacks causes you to erupt with light, dealing damage, and then consecration damage increased. And then I am rocking Akrat's Rebuke, which is condemn now fills your soul with valor retribution for 5 seconds, causing every primary attack to unleash a lightning bolt at your target, dealing damage to all nearby enemies. Shoulders, we are rocking the ones that give you increased damage for a few seconds after using either stage of falling sword, which is great. Keep that on cooldown at all times for the damage increase. And then we're rocking condemn deals 19% damage increase for each harmful effect the enemy suffers from. So it's usually why I, in terms of skills, do condemn last. Also try to get a couple of primary attacks off to get the burn on them. For this main hand number 1, falling sword now follows you, damaging nearby enemies and reducing their movement speed. Falling sword damage increased. Then we're rocking the offhand 1 slot is condemn immediately triggers all continual damage on the targets it hits, causing them to take the remaining damage instantly. Again, condemn does a ton of damage. We want to make sure we don't use it right away. We want it to sort of build up so that we can get that big explosion. And then the bristle, which is sacred fire, now also hurls, and this is offhand number, or main hand number 2. Sacred fire now also hurls waves of flame, dealing 3,533 damage to all enemies in their path. Last is offhand number 2, which is going to be batter him, which is going to be condemned damage increased by 3% for every enemy hit, up to a maximum of 24% increased damage. Actually, you know what? Now that I look at that, I wonder if that's the wrong one, because I thought there was that's good for multi-target, but when it comes to I went to the wrong spot. But when it comes to single target, I thought there was another one that did really well for condemn. That's the one that we're using on offhand one. No, condemn also unleashes a bright light. Deals 75 damage for all suffering total. Maybe. Punish. Spinning shield. Condemn. Yeah, that's the one. So Gates of Hell is the one that I would actually recommend, which is condemn deals 38% increased damage to enemies below 50% health. In fact, we'll just go ahead and run that back because that was definitely the wrong piece of gear. Let's go ahead and switch loadout and then overwrite. So same exact build. I'm going to go and toggle everything. I'm going to take a screenshot of my current DPS. Boop. So that way we have that as a reference point. And then we will try this again. Do it again. Now, while we wait for this cooldown for 14 seconds, I will... Okay, come on. I'll talk about the headpiece that I was missing. So if you are missing this headpiece, which is, again, the Glamour Thorn Crown, another headpiece is just as good. Not just as good. It'll get you enough single target damage, but that's this one, Anointed Brimstone, which consecration now engulfs you in intense holy flames, dealing damage to yourself and nearby enemies. I used this for a long time until I got this one. You'll still do damage, but this one does more single target damage, and this one's really good for basically everything else. If you watch all of my other build videos, you'll know this. That's the other headpiece that I use basically all the time now. It does hurt you, but I mean, you're so tanky in most builds that you don't even need to worry. You don't even need to worry about it. So there's that. So now that we have that off cooldown, let's go ahead and get ready to DPS it again. Get into position, and 3, 2, 1, go. Oops, I did not tab fast enough. BFG Daisy. So we probably didn't get a full 2 mil. I wasn't paying attention because I noticed that my stance wasn't right. Now, one thing you don't want to do, and I'm actually glad that it is proc, is your ultimate. Believe it or not, your ultimate actually does makes you do less damage from the testing that I've done. So avoid that at all costs. Are we about to do less damage? No way. All right, we did 25, which looks like we're about to not even hit. Little less. So again, play with it. I'm not going to hit it again. I think that I was not non-optimal. So again, here's just a side-by-side between the two builds. I think that this build, the one that I showed you, is the right one, but I think that me not toggling to my stance fast enough and getting that damage increase during my biggest window was probably that just under 2 mil difference that we saw there. So again, very, very good build. No matter which one you do in terms of the offhand that I showed you originally and or the headpiece that I just showed you as well. Those are some altercations you can make if you don't have all of the essences. Again, this is a really good build. I feel really strong about it. It does, I will say, have a decently high skill gap. So, and with a lot of it is because you want to make sure that your condemn is sort of building up and you get all of those continuous effects on it, as well as, where's the other one? The harmful effects. So continuous damage and the harmful effects, you want those to sort of stack because that'll make you do more damage, and then you sort of hit your condemn. Now ideally you get enough triggered in a fast pace so you can just keep it off cooldown, but in the very beginning you do want to make sure you watch where you use your condemn. So that's my breakdown of this video, guys, or of this build and some altercations. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'm sure that some of you have some other options similar to this build, so let me know what essences you have tried differently and if you have a higher result, and if you guys are right, I will cover it in a new video. But until then, this is the best build that I have found for my Crusader. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and until next time, I hope to see you in a video soon.